Spring Boot 3.1.0 was released. I haven't talked about it, but I've nearly finished updating my Spring and Spring Boot introductory video course on the O'Reilly Learning Platform. I've had a Spring Boot course there, Spring and Spring Boot course on the platform since around 2017, 2018. And we've updated it twice, I believe. This, I think, will be the third time. Of course, this is the first time I've had to do it myself. They're going to do editing for me, but I had to do all the recordings myself. But fortunately, hey, I've got a YouTube channel. I'm used to doing this now. But it used to be I'd go into a studio and record it there. But I'm afraid the studios did not survive the pandemic, if you know what I mean. So they wound up cutting all that capability, and now I'm doing it myself. At any rate, I'm in the middle of, I'm nearly finished all the recordings. I'm in the middle of the last module is where I am. And of course, that's when the Spring team decided to release Spring Boot 3.1. It figures. So, at any rate, I guess that's better than updating it after I released the course, which is what happened with my Mockito book, Mockito Made Clear, because I knew Mockito 5 was coming. And yet they waited until about a month after the book was released to finally update it. Turned out turned out not to be a big deal, because the only things that changed in Mockito 5 is that they required Java 11 as their baseline Java support version, and the so-called inline mock maker became part of the core. So if you wanted to mock final classes or static methods or constructors, you didn't have to change anything anymore. It used to be you had to add this extra dependency or replace your dependency with Mockito-inline, and now you don't have to do that anymore. Okay, so for the Spring Boot upgrade, I read through the release notes, and I did open that. I'll open that as a link here. You can see there's the release notes themselves. And the big things that are here, there's a lot of, small things that changed, but the big ones are, and by the way, of course, Mockito 5 is now part of Spring as well. But the new stuff is the Testcontainers support based on this service connections approach, and further down, Docker Compose. So you can now, you could already work with Testcontainers before, but now they've really streamlined that process, and they even made it possible for you to run the Testcontainers container, if you will, during development mode, so that you don't have to only run it in the tests. You could actually run it as part of your regular Spring application.run approach. I haven't done that yet. I did do the stuff with, I did get one app running with a couple of databases that I don't have installed locally, and everything seemed to work. I did run into some minor issues I'm going to have to play with, but hey, it's not bad for the first week it's out. The Testcontainers part, again, this is the big deal. I've been a fan of Testcontainers for a while now, certainly over a year. I think I've worn a t-shirt for Testcontainers on this podcast, as a matter of fact, or a screencast, however you want to say it. So it really has become the definitive way to do integration tests, not just in Spring Boot, but in pretty much anything. It allows you to run anything that can run in a Docker container locally. In fact, what I have is what they call here, let me show you actually. Let me open this up. This is what they call Testcontainers Cloud Agent, which I am connected to. And I could open a dashboard, I could look at this, and the bottom line is that I'm actually able to run on their cloud provider, meaning I don't even need to download the individual Docker containers, which is what the Testcontainers project would in principle do for you. Yeah, I'm not going to log in now. I just want to point out the logo here, the Testcontainers Cloud, by the company called Atomic Jar. They've made a company specifically to fund development of this process. And that meant that when I ran, for example, a database, I used Postgres in my example. I don't even have Postgres installed locally, and I just use their cloud provider. So it streamlined that process as well. It's very nice. And it's clear that the Spring people are ramping up their usage of it. It's definitely going to be the move in the future to do integration tests. Now, the question, of course, I brought this up in the context of recording my updated course. Is this going to affect my updated course? Maybe, not a lot. The changes don't affect anything I've done. At least I haven't seen anything that bothers it yet. I would like to throw in a quick Testcontainers demo toward the end, and I probably will. It's just, it's easy to get wrapped up in that stuff, and the course is already running long. I know you're shocked to hear that. But at any rate, I'll probably put in a demo. And I'm meeting with the team this Thursday, so I really have to have everything done by then. So we'll see. Let's move on to our next section.